Hello, my juicy co-creators. Lilou here in beautiful, sunny London with Jolene.
Hello. It's so lovely to have you here.
So amazing to see you, especially at the place you're at right now in life. We met many years ago in Chicago, and we connected. We both love Sonia Choquette.
We do. We love Sonia. Hello, Sonia. Love you. Love you.
And you are, how do you call your work? Like your medium? Or?
Yeah, psychic medium. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And you have a deck of cards, and so tell us how, you know, this is quite special. I want to hear all about your journey, but also what is your take on what's going on in the world right now and where we're at? Like, where do you feel you're at right now?
Okay, so I kind of feel like it's been a real journey. I mean, I haven't seen you in person since 2010. So, gosh, it's been a whirlwind since then. And I remember I had my card deck and was doing the cards, was in Chicago, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's so exciting. And really just kind of getting to know myself back then in 2010. And since then, especially these past kind of 2 or 3 years, it's been a real journey in like my own stuff coming up, my own behaviors that needed to go, my own dark stuff that needed to go, which I guess we've all got in us as humans. And it's shadow. Yeah, it's shadow. It's the shadow stuff. And I feel like that's what I've been really doing these past sort of 2 or 3 years, is clearing that stuff out, because I feel like we're at a stage in our planet now where we're needed, and we're needed to be transparent so that people can see the essence of who we are. And if we've got our own stuff hidden in us, like all clumped up and just kind of like we're trying to hide it or whatever, people can see that as well. So I think we're always working, we're always clearing stuff out. But me, especially on this journey, has been about really going deep. And I mean really deep. What do I need to clear to be the best I can be, to be the best person I can be, with like letting my old behaviours going? So things like, you know, there'd be certain triggers where I'd feel, you know, like jealous or envious, and really looking at that, like especially if someone was doing really good or doing really well in the work. And I don't want to carry that, because it's like it holds you back when you're feeling that. And so I've just been on this real journey of getting to know who I am, who am I at the core, what am I here for? You know, the whole questions of, well, why am I here? What's my purpose? And I think the more we can clear that stuff out, the more we can hear and be a channel for this to come in, especially at the moment in the planet, because I think a lot of us are going through this at the moment where we've been doing the work, we've been really doing the work, we've been put through hell and back many times, and now it's a case of, especially this year, this is about receiving. Because once you've been clearing all the stuff out, and I don't think it's ever fully cleared, I think we're always working on stuff, always. You know, we're human, and we're living in a society the way it is at the moment. I think it's got the capability of getting to that point where we can be these amazing light beings, but at the moment we're kind of the ones, we're the front runners with this. We're the guys who's putting the actions into place. We're making the changes for our future generations. And so it's about opening up to something higher than us, than our personality. Because I think our personalities are the parts of us that, you know, will kind of keep us down or try and show off. And it's like, how can we like kind of keep track of that? How can we monitor that a little bit so that personality side of us isn't running off and just creating this whole whirlwind of drama or whatever? And it's like your soul, your essence, the core essence, the who you are, the true us, the true part of us, the truest part, the loving part of us, the giving part of us, the soul who knows what it's here to do. When we connect with that, magic happens. The universe starts to open doors. I'm going on a right tangent here. I can talk for English.
No, this is wonderful. I love it. This is you're definitely connected, and so when you tell us about, do you have some kind of daily rituals, or how do you open yourself up to this wisdom, to this universe?
Okay, I do, and excuse me, I'm just losing my voice. Yeah, I do, and I went through this whole stage of, I started like going ridiculously over the top with doing I don't know if you guys have ever done that. I was doing everything. Like I was spending like 2 or 3 hours before I'd leave the door, and I'm like, I can't do this. I've got a son. I need to get him to school. You know, yes, I need to meditate, but I also need to get on and get stuff done, you know, and it was almost like too extreme. So again, I've been finding my balance, you know, how it goes. Yeah. And so I've gone extreme with it. And then I went where I didn't do anything. And it was just a nightmare. And I learned from them, like, right, I'm not doing that. I was kind of feeling a bit annoyed at the universe. And I was like, do you know what? Don't need you. Can do this on my own. Complete ego stuff. Can't do it on my own. No. As I learned.
Very different.
Attracted a lot of drama at that point, thinking I knew everything. Again, the personality took over. And then I realised, you know what, it's about balance. It's a balance, you know? I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do it. So I've really played around with a lot of stuff, and I don't think for a minute that I've got the answers to anything, but certainly what works for me at the moment, through going through the experiences, what doesn't work for me. some of the things I like to do, I like to keep it really easy. Easy, quick, things that I can do daily where I'm not feeling pressured or feeling bad if I don't do it. So one of the things I do in the morning, when I wake up in the morning, I just take some time, even if it's just 5 minutes, to just breathe, to close my eyes and to ground myself. And I just say to the universe, use me to serve today. Use me to serve. You know, I'm open to you. Use the very best of me. Use me to the fullest. Fullest, is that a word? I don't know what it is. Anyway, fill me up. That's what I say. Fill me up. Use me to serve. And that in itself has really just been creating some magic for me, because I feel like when I do that, I'm surrendering to something bigger, because my ego likes to take over. And sometimes the ego can position itself as though it's your soul speaking. It can be quite confusing.
It reminds me of a conversation I had with Wayne Dyer. He does the same thing now, especially since his leukemia, and he had to go through it. Now every morning he just walks on the beach in Hawaii when he's there and just says, you know, I'm your instrument. I mean, I'm just a vessel, and you know, flow through me, and just we're the feet and the hands of the universe.
Yes, we are. And it's funny you say about Wayne Dyer, because actually he inspired a lot of this for me. When I was going through my more darker stages, where I was thinking, oh, I'm not doing any of this. It's just ridiculous, because I went extreme. I was doing 2 or 3 hours every day, and I wouldn't like start my working day until I'd done all these things, and it was actually causing more problems for me. And then I picked up one of Wayne's books, and I think it was Wishes Fulfilled. And I was reading it, and then I was listening to an audio, which is Excuses Be Gone. Now, I've listened to that before. I have it in my car because I drive quite a lot. And I was driving to Glastonbury, and I just took myself off on a soul retreat to the Chalice Well. I felt guided. I felt like I was meant to go.
This is where we're going next time together. I'm doing an interview from there. Jolene and I are going there together.
Yes, we completely are, because the Chalice Well, honestly, and Glastonbury, it was a place that was shown to me in meditation, and there's a whole story behind it, which I won't get into now. But I was so meant to be there, and it's I believe one of our most magical places in the UK, and especially all to do with this awakening of our purpose, awakening of the divine feminine, and balancing that with the divine masculine. And it's an incredible place. I can't wait for us to go there. It's so amazing. And so I was going on a retreat there. I was in that stage of, do you know what? I give up. Whatever I'm doing is not working. So universe, please help me. I'm sorry for kind of swearing at you and doing all these things. I'm really sorry. Please help me. Yeah. You know, and it was this kind of stage. I was just going through my divorce as well. So it was bringing up every amount of just stuff that, you know, and I was like, you know what? I need to get away. So I went to the Chalice Well on my own. In the car, I had Wayne Dyer's Excuses Be Gone. And I literally had like tears streaming down my face. I was like, oh my God, I really, really hear what he's saying. And it was disc 5. And I think it was like number 6 on the CD in the car. And he was just talking about the Tao and the way of the Tao. And I've come across it so much, but I've not actually started studying it. And that was it. So I picked up a book, the Tao. I can never pronounce it. The Tao.
The Tao, yeah. The Ching.
Yeah, the Tao Te Ching. And I had that book by my bedside, and it's still there now. And I'll pick it up. So he was asking what I do every day. So that's the other thing, use me to serve. And after listening to Wayne's audio, that really helped me, honestly, so much. And I open a page every day from the Tao. Yeah. I just
discovered the Tao from Wayne Dyer, but coming back from Thailand, you know. And there is Mantak Chia. He's one of the top experts in the world. And if you haven't seen that interview, it's a must-see interview. It's amazing, the Tao and the depth of it, and how we can learn so much from it. There's so many practices. This is taking the whole journey to a whole other level. I'm blown away. I mean, I think it's huge and massive, and it's never ending.
It's so humble. You know, do you know what? You see, something that I've learned about myself is that I can really get caught up in all this material stuff. And you know what? I like to look nice. I like to feel good. And sometimes I can go extreme with it, and it worries me because I don't want to do that. And the Tao is about being so humble. It's about what you're here to do. You're just allowing the universe to flow through you, the way of the Tao, to flow through you. Now, I'm obviously not an expert or anything in it, but it's absolutely helping change my life, and it just kind of resets me. Yeah. So when my ego's getting carried away, I want more, let's do this, or, you know, and the Tao just kind of balances me. It's like, we don't need to do this. This is beyond the personality. This is beyond the me that's come to this life as Jolene. This is about actually, what am I here to do? And inside of me, I think a big group have come together, definitely at this time, to come together as to co-create these changes that are really needed on our planet right now. And so I think these past few years, a lot of us have been going through our own dark stuff to clear it out, because it's like, how can this light come in if we've got dark there? So it's just casting a light on our shadows, which I think is probably the work, is to clear that out. And also to just be available to the universe, to surrender. Another thing I do.
So delicious, so juicy.
Every day. Do you know what?
God, I love it. I could feel the connection right now as you say it. I hope you can too. It's just, so beautiful. It's like it's like expanding an unlimited connection. I love it. And flow and like receiving the love and just...
And absolutely. And that's the thing, is receiving. You know, I had a real problem with receiving.
I think all of us.
like a real issue with that. You know, and it's like, I'm brilliant at giving. Give. But, I don't know if I can receive that. I'd deflect it. And do you know one thing? I'm going to share this. This is quite vulnerable. I'm going to share this with you and with everybody who's watching this. But something that really changed my life was recent, actually. It was about a year and a half ago by one of my amazing friends. She's called Denitsa over here in the UK. And she was helping me in a coaching session. And that's another thing, is make sure you got a team around you, to help us go through the stuff, especially when we're sharing these messages. And so I asked her, I said, please help me. I'm really, and that takes a lot for me to say, please help me. I was going through my divorce and I was really having a problem with receiving. I was deflecting opportunities. I was deflecting abundance coming to me. I was deflecting everything.
And you've learned to be independent woman and make it.
Had to learn to, and that was one of my things, was about being, I had this real codependency thing going on where I felt I had to rely on someone else to do that. And one of the things she came up with, which has just changed things for me, she'd mentioned to me that about this whole receiving thing, what's blocking you from receiving? And what we came to after quite an intense coaching session, and I think a lot of people go through this, is why I want to share it, was that I had a fear of receiving because I felt like receiving would cause me pain. And that went right back to childhood. So if you're forced to receive something, then sometimes we can be scared of receiving it in case it's going to hurt us. So it's like at any time in your life, if you felt forced to receive, then we automatically put a boundary up and deflect it away. I can't receive because receiving might lead to pain. And even just acknowledging that and seeing that can really change things. And as soon as she said that, it was just like this massive, wow, it was like an aha moment. I knew exactly what she was talking about. And she didn't know anything about me at that point. In that respect, I could see it. I was like, of course, I never ever linked receiving to pain.
Tell us more about that, because I'm not quite getting it. Okay. And I want to get it because this is major for me, and I'm sure for all beautiful co-creators watching this.
Yeah, okay. So basically, when the universe is sent, or God, or whatever you want to call it, source, is sending us gifts. And I don't know if you ever do this. So something will happen and then we can be like, oh no, you have that. Or give it away. Like if somebody gives you something, want to give it to somebody else, it's like an automatic, oh, I don't know if I can receive that. Or if you've had problems like sort of manifesting or abundance, like money and stuff, it's like deflect it. Right? So you can give and give and give, but then it's receiving it. So it's not just that, it's unlimited, or it could even be in a relationship, right? So say if you're in a relationship with somebody, and as a woman, as the feminine beings we are, our natural core essence is to receive. And I think as humans, we're a balance of masculine and feminine, right? In a relationship, it's balancing the masculine and feminine between both of you. Because the guys have got the feminine and we've got the masculine.
That's a lot of people right there.
That is a hell of a lot of people right there. So why relationships aren't quite straightforward. And so, and it's the balance of that. And so when you're out there sharing messages and stuff, that's quite a masculine energy when you're in your work mode and things. The feminine is receiving, it's the allowing, it's the surrendering, it's the flowing. And that has to be in balance. And so what I was finding is that I was very much in my masculine, I wasn't receiving. And I wanted to know why. I'd done so many healings, cord cuttings, journey, oh God, everything I could think of. And it just wasn't clear. And I'm like, why can't I just receive? And I remember her saying to me, you know what? It goes much deeper than that. And so we traced it right back, like to a time like when I was like a child and like I was forced to receive something I didn't want to through an experience I went through, which wasn't very pleasant, which shaped me into who I am today. And, it's kind of, I kind of forgot about that. I put it behind me. And I guess it's always inside of you. And I'd had this underlying, sorry, I'm just knocking the microphone here. I had this underlying feeling inside of myself where I felt that if I was forced to receive, then receiving was painful. But I hadn't, as a child, you don't necessarily match that up with anything. And so I didn't see that. I didn't get it because I was good at manifesting, but it was usually when there was someone else there. So in my marriage, easy to manifest things because I felt he was there. So it was creating this codependency. But me on my own, I needed to clear that from my divorce because I felt like part of me had like died, like it had gone, and I felt really lost and alone. And I was like, how am I going to do this? I need to be able to be independent. So this is what I've been working on the past 2 or 3 years is claiming my independence back and balancing that masculine feminine. And when Danitza said to me about, I feel at a time, very intuitive woman, amazing, incredible woman. She's from Brighton, amazing. And she'd said to me, I'm feeling like there was a time in your life when you were forced to receive, and that's blocking it. It's blocking it. And so we did some inner child work where you're talking to your inner child and saying, you know what, you can receive now. It's not painful. And then I started looking back even through my teenage years where it was even something like I was given a meal and said, right, you must eat this meal. And I was like, I don't want to eat it. So it's forcing, almost like you have to eat this thing where you've been told what to do to receive it, and you're like, I don't want to, so we can reflect it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something really traumatic. Usually I've found that if it is something traumatic like that, well, I've worked with my clients on this as well, and it's been such a blessing to have learnt this, going through it myself, because since I cleared that, it was almost like doors just started opening. Yeah. Seriously, it wasn't like the next day or anything ridiculous like that. It wasn't like, wow. It was over a matter of weeks, genuinely, like miracles started happening in my life. So it's about, and that's when again, just the whole Glastonbury thing and the chalice well is about the feminine. It's the receiving. We struggle to receive as women sometimes, and the guys too. It's not just women. Yeah. You know, so yeah, I got on a right tangent with all this.
So now a lot of things are possible, right? Once we're in this place, it's just the universe pours through us. I mean, this is miracle time.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I don't do like astrology or anything like that. But one thing I do know, and I really feel it in my core, is that 2015 is the year for miracles. This is the year for co-creation. This is the year for doors being opened out of nowhere. This is the year where all of the work we've done on ourselves and to get to the place where we are now, this is where it will come to fruition. This is where you look back and say, I'm so glad that this experience didn't happen maybe 2 or 3 years ago, maybe something you was disappointed about, or a person that you never got with, because it wasn't meant to. This year is all about divine synchronicity, and I honestly feel like if there are gods in the heavens and just, I'm very much into the ancient wisdom, if it's there, I do think this is all being divinely orchestrated, the whole thing. And I think that's why there's a huge group of us now awakening.
Yeah. Because the ego tries to work things out and to make things happen and to set goals and all of that. But ultimately, when we surrender, I mean, there's such a beautiful journey there for us. Such a beautiful path. It honestly is beautiful, and I think it's having that balance. Again, I mean, I'm really big on this whole balance thing because, to be honest, like when I'm in that surrendered place, and it's just so beautiful, and I feel so connected to myself. But I also, something I've realised within me is that I also do need to set some goals to some degree without being excessive, like having this a million things to do on my to-do list, but having just, you know, even 10 things that I need to do every day, it just balances it for me, and it keeps my energy directed. Because I think, like, I was really extreme on that. I was like, I'm just going to stay surrendered the whole time, and it was kind of like, okay, I need some direction at some point, because it was lovely and I felt really at ease with everything. But I think it's that balance, you know, finding what works for you. But you do it differently now. From my understanding, you actually check inside and you kind of ask, what's the next step? What's the next task?
Definitely. Okay. So before I used to kind of, I guess it was like forcing things. Right, I've got to do this, and this to get this. Well, now instead of me trying to get something, because I used to do that all the time, I don't think it's about getting at all. I think it's about giving. And so I sit there in the morning, like I said, what we were saying earlier about, you know, and I say to the universe, use me to serve. And quite often in that space, in that quiet time, I'll get ideas. And that's where my to-do list usually comes from. I mean, do you know what? I have a to-do list to do stuff around the house and all that kind of stuff. I get around to it. But this is different. I'm on about like purpose here. Like, what do I need to do? What use me to my fullest? And something I've learned from doing that, it opens you up to more experiences than what we could ever imagine. And I think it's mind blowing. And it stuns me to this day and amazes me at how incredible the universe, source, the divine, God, whatever you want to call it, how incredible it is when we align to our truth, when we align to our soul and what we're here to do. And it's going, I believe, going beyond that personality. And when you're here for humanity, for the planet, for the animals, for all of the kingdoms here, what am I here to do? Use me to serve. And it will open doors that you cannot even imagine could ever be open to you.
Beautiful, Jolene. What a beautiful time. I'm glad we got this on tape. I know you're onto something big. A lot of doors are opening now for you. So I wish you an amazing, amazing journey and time. Today is a big day. And gosh, aren't we inspired? We're ready. Oh my God, I'm ready to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Big kisses to all of you guys watching this. Please share this video. We send you so much love and inspiration from beautiful London. Bye.
Bye. And now it's a case of, especially this year, this is about receiving. Because once you've been clearing all the stuff out, and I don't think it's ever fully cleared, I think we're always working on stuff, always. You know, we're human, and we're living in a society the way it is at the moment. I think it's got the capability of getting to that point where we can be these amazing light beings, but at the moment, we're kind of the ones, we're the front runners with this. We're the guys who's putting the actions into place. We're making the changes for our future generations. And so it's about opening up to something higher than us, than our personality. Because I think our personalities are the parts of us that, you know, will kind of keep us down or try and show off. And it's like, how can we, like, kind of...
And you have a deck of cards. And so tell us how... You know, this is quite special. I want to hear all about your journey, but also what is your take on what's going on in the world right now and where we're at? Like, where do you feel you're at right now?
Okay, so I kind of feel like it's been a real journey. I mean, I haven't seen you in person since 2010. So, gosh, it's been a whirlwind since then. And I remember I had my card deck and was doing the cards, was in Chicago, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's so exciting. And really just kind of getting to know myself back then in 2010. And since then, especially these past kind of 2 or 3 years, it's been a real journey in like my own stuff coming up, my own behaviours that needed to go, my own dark stuff that needed to go, which I guess we've all got in us as humans. And it's shadow. Yeah, it's shadow. It's the shadow stuff. And I feel like that's what I've been really doing these past sort of 2 or 3 years, is clearing that stuff out, because I feel like we're at a stage in our planet now where we're needed, and we're needed to be transparent so that people can see the essence of who we are. And if we've got our own stuff hidden in us, like all clumped up and just kind of like we're trying to hide it or whatever, people can see that as well. So I think we're always working, we're always clearing stuff out. But me, especially on this journey, has been about really going deep. And I mean really deep. What do I need to clear to be the best I can be, to be the best person I can be, with like letting my old behaviours going? So things like, you know, there'd be certain triggers where I'd feel, you know, like jealous or envious, and really looking at that, like especially if someone was doing really good or doing really well in the work. And I don't want to carry that, because it's like it holds you back when you're feeling that. And so I've just been on this real journey of getting to know who I am, who am I at the core, what am I here for? You know, the whole questions of, well, why am I here? What's my purpose? And I think the more we can clear that stuff out, the more we can hear and be a channel for this to come in, especially at the moment in the planet, because I think a lot of us are going through this at the moment, where we've been doing the work, we've been really doing the work, we've been put through hell and back many times.
Hello, my Juicy Co-Creators. Lilou here in beautiful, sunny London with Jolene.
Hello, hello. It's so lovely to have you here.
So amazing to see you, especially at the place you're at right now in life. We met many years ago in Chicago, and we connected. We both love Sonia Choquette.
We do. We love Sonia. Hello, Sonia. Love you. Love you.
And you are, how do you call your work? Like your medium? Or?
Yeah, psychic medium. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.